going from having this Discord server here, like that could have just been the one thing you did. It's like, okay, we're gonna make a good Discord community. But you also said there's a non-profit attached to it as well, and you're also building
Yeah,
all of these tools. So why
yeah,
did you decide to expand out of just being a Discord server?
because that's boring.
Fair.
Because that's boring. There's so many Discord servers. Like,
Mhm.
why not do more? No. I mean, if we're gonna be GG/Linux, right?
Yep.
Like we're gonna in our name, even the name, all things Linux, it's a pretty big name, okay?
Mhm.
So like I said, I've had experience, personally. I've been an entrepreneur my entire life, doing different businesses. I actually used to work in the music business,
Mhm.
throwing events and things like that. And then I got into like software and like digital marketing and things like that. And so I just knew inside, like, oh, I could probably do something. Like we can
Mhm.
do something cool. Uh, that I think what it started off. Okay, so the very first project that we had was
Mhm.
an open source Discord bot. That's called Tux.
Okay.
And Tux is now over 20,000 lines long of Python. It's Dockerized. It's like the most extreme like linting system. CI images. There's it has Nix flakes, everything. Like we're doing some really cool stuff. Like 2,000 plus commits on it. I think like 30 plus contributors. We're about to have our first official release. There's a roadmap of it as well. I think over 100, maybe 110 stars or something like that. And so our goal with that was kind of be like the all-in-one Discord bot and
Mhm.
to provide an alternative to something like, Dino or,
Right.
Me6 and those other kind of like all-in-one bots, but add in so much more. And so, for example, it being a Linux focused bot, you could run, for example, we have like a TLDR command, right? Like you could
Right.
literally
Right.
just
Right.
like TLDR, whatever. Actually, one of the maintainers, I believe, through the last video that you posted, found us through your video, joined in, and I've been communicating with him, and we've been talking and everything connected over that. And he's been helping me with some things like that. And
Mhm.
so, that was cool. Different things, code compiling. I've been working on a integration with repo.
Re.
How do you how do
Let me just
repology
let me at the website right now.
repology? I never know how to
Re
say this.
re. I would say Repology, but
Repology?
yeah, that sounds right
Yeah.
to me.
Repology. So integrations with Repology, man pages, all these different things, like, different package manager repos,
Mhm. Mhm.
and just, creating that. And then basically, I mean, when you're in control of it, the code base at least, you have so
Mhm.
much flexibility to do things. And so that we created that bot, or at least the idea of it, I think like the second week of the server opening.
Mhm.
So that was that. And then maybe, I don't know, like 6 months in, I think we had the idea of the wiki, or no, maybe the wiki or maybe the tools.
Mhm.
So I've been basically like, people think I have an addiction. Don't listen to them, but
Definitely not.
I have a, I've been acquiring a lot of domains, okay?
Uh-huh.
Because they'll definitely come in handy. So atl.tools, you
Mhm.
can visit it. You can kind of get the vision. Eventually, that's going to be a lot of different self-hosted services and things like that.
Mhm.
atl.wiki, obviously. atl.chat, as I mentioned. atl. What else do we have? Oh, I just got atl.sh. That one's clean. And then no, so the big picture though, atl.dev. And I'm not
Mhm.
sure. I could probably share my screen in a little bit about what this exactly is.
Okay.
But atl.dev is really where it ties together the nonprofit and my kind of vision behind it. Are you familiar with Pubnix or Tillyverse?
It's ringing a bell, but I can't put my finger on it. Uh,
Pubnix. It's like a probably best if you look it up.
uh, Pu- do
Pretty
you,
old, pretty old.
Pubnix is a boutique internet service provider with personalized service that
Picture.
offers you an alternative to
No,
big
that's not
telco?
it.
No?
Nope. No,
I
no,
don't know what you're
no.
talking about then. That was the first thing
Okay,
that came up.
so a Pubnix is think of it as like a public sort of hacker space where people can get involved. So typically
Mhm.
back then it was through universities, just small little groups where they would host server space, and people would
Oh
be
wait,
able
wait. Is
to
this
get,
public access Unix systems?
yeah, so people would
Okay.
be able to SSH into them and monkey around and test things and learn about Linux. They would have, resources, HTTP space, etc.
Mhm.
And they created kind of micro communities around that, BBS, IRC days.
Uh-huh.
And that grew and grew, and the spirit of that eventually grew into the concept of like tilde verses. And
Okay.
if you actually look up tilde, like TI, whatever, TILDE dot club, I think. You'll get
Uh,
it. It's super, super 90s.
dot club. I see a. Oh wait, tilde dot. Is this it? Uh, is the website some like is it like orange tech or orange like
Tilde
accents to
club.
everything,
Yeah, it's like
black
super hacky. It's
background?
like welcome to Tilde
Yeah.
Club.
Okay.
Looks like
Okay.
a,
Yep. Cool.
yeah. Okay, so if you look at, for example, if you scroll down, you'll see a bunch of usernames.
Hmm.
The tilde is because if you click it, instead of using subdomains, if you click one of them, you could see it's tilde username. They're just
Right.
using HTTP space and like var www. But these people, so they've kind of created these communities,
Mm.
and they have typically tons of self-hosted resources. So, like for example, this one is not a good example. If you go to go to let's see, um,
That screen is really bright on
til-
your face.
tilde, try to wait, burn.cc. Go to vern.cc, ver.cc.
Fern.cc. Okay.
And scroll down. You can see, look how many things they host.
Uh.
They provide mirrors, services,
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
everything's Tor. They have Gemini space. Different like uh Pastebin
Mhm.
services,
Mhm.
like
Mhm.
everything you can imagine, pretty much. Like it just keeps going and going and going, and like I just love the idea of it. Like it was so cool to me whenever I first learned about this sort of ecosystem, and there's so many of these, and they all sort of interconnect in this giant web,
Mhm.
and yeah, I thought it was so cool. And so I was like, okay, well, what if we take on kind of that approach, but we also take on stuff like, so we already host mail, right? We
Mhm.
provide self-hosted mail. But what about like Netlify, kind of Vercel, Cloudflare pages, etc., providing server space, storage? And so I was like, okay, who's gonna pay for this, right?
Right.
How do we afford all this? Well, we're a nonprofit. That means we can apply for grants and sponsorships and things like that. And so, okay, who's going to give us money? Well, why not we provide this space and resources to people that are in need, whether
Mhm.
it be students, smaller FOSS developers of smaller projects and stuff like that, different maintainers, different, kind of younger junior independent developers,
Mhm.
different schools, so be it, etc.
Mhm.
And so, you know, big companies, they're like, oh yes, this looks good for us, here, take our money.
Right. Right. Right.
And because you're helping someone, we're helping someone. And so uh I think that, and keep in mind that's still quite a bit of ways ahead.
Mhm.
We're still just laying out the groundwork for all that, and we haven't really been focused on scaling out that just yet,
Mhm.
because there's still a lot, yeah, in development. But you can kind of get the bigger picture there of like how, just from a Discord server, it's grown to providing those resources, to providing, basically expanding across Discord, because like you said, yeah, not everyone wants to use Discord.
Mhm.
Um, and then the educational aspect, which you kind of hinted on a bit, the wiki.
Yeah, like the first thing that's always going to come up when you talk about, oh, we're using Discord, there is this subset of the FOSS community, like a subset of FOSS developers who are like, you shouldn't have anything FOSS related on Discord. You should be doing everything on Matrix or IRC or XMPP. I think it's a good goal to have, but at the same time, if your goal is to if your goal is to reach people who don't necessarily use only Linux,
Yeah, you read my mind.
yeah, it's very difficult to get them onto something where no one they talk to is using.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I I think one of the biggest issues, and that I've realized so much when watching people give support
Mm-hmm.
and other things when new people come in, is like, and I'm pretty sure there's a like a fallacy or mental model or something like that, where we forget how much we know.
Right.
Like we forget how like how much of an expert, quote unquote, we are about certain things. And like, while to me now, like doing an Arch install, like I could probably, do it with my eyes closed. Like, yeah, I can do that. And so I could say that Arch is easy. But for someone else, like in term relatively,
Mm-hmm.
Arch is not that hard. But in the perspective of someone who's like has barely even touched it, doesn't even know what a terminal is, like it's hard. Like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you can't beat around the bush. Like it's hard. Even if they do read, there's
Mm-hmm.
still so many new words and concepts and terminology and stuff that they have to learn. And so like
Mm-hmm.
we kind of need to humble ourselves a bit and like put ourselves back down a little, and realize like where people are at and go back to what it was like to being a noob again. And I think with Matrix and these other things, like just some of the terminology that Matrix uses as well, and like and the user experience, like hopefully, I don't know if it's improved at all. At
Mm-hmm.
least when I used to use Matrix a bit, sometimes like with the lag and cache issues and client issues and like the home network connections with invite links and et
Mm-hmm.
cetera, that it would cause quite it would cause a frustration for anyone that's new to this.
Mm-hmm.
And so we just have to be realistic with ourselves. Like, is the average Joe or whatever going to get on IRC or Matrix? No. Like, quit lying to yourself.
Yeah.
Like, and if you're not willing to provide a way for them, if like they're not worth your time because they aren't suitable for IRC or etc., then I feel like you're the problem.